Welcome back to the Rob Dibble Show. Ben Darnell, Curt Kaplan in for Dibs. He's on the IL today. He'll be back tomorrow. Football is upon us, boys and girls. We are just a couple of weeks from CCSU kicking off against our Yukon Huskies. That's going to be a big one in the state of Connecticut. It's probably just going to be, big no matter when we play, just because we got two in-state schools playing each other. But the kickoff of football really starts August 30th. So many games, so many teams in contention, or everybody's in contention at that point,
right
I guess,
now,
right?
Nobody's out.
Maybe not. I mean, you would like to say that.
Mathematically.
But, mathematics don't really matter in the world of the NCAA college football.
That's true.
In
but
college
mathematically,
football.
they are not eliminated.
Well, the one thing that really grinds my gears before the football season starts in college is the AP Top 25. I don't understand why we do one until October 1st. You have no idea if a team is good or not. What are you basing this off of? You can't base it off of last year.
No,
you can't.
The rosters move too much.
Years ago, I could say, okay, this guy quarterback's coming back. They got their whole offensive line. This guy's a Heisman candidate. Like, I can't even tell you who's the Heisman candidates are going into this season. I can't even really name you starting quarterbacks on most teams. Like, it's getting so ridiculous where don't count on anyone sticking around for another season on whatever you see from this year. Phil Steele, one of my faves, was on Colin Cowherd yesterday. I was literally going through a Rolodex, if that makes me sound old.
Yeah,
and
it does.
And then I saw Phil Steele. And then I'm like, wow, how's Phil doing it this year? How's he been doing it the last couple of years? So if those who don't know, Curt knows, Phil Steele, if I just said a Phil Steele, like, hey, man, I'm going to the bathroom. Can you give me a Phil Steele? Like, that was how it was in our house. A Phil Steele is the prep mag for all things college football before the season starts. Phil would do every single team. 2 pages of breakdown. Small print, you would get the whole entire roster. I'm sure it's still out there. I heard him on Colin yesterday saying it's in Barnes & Noble and other stores. You can still go out there and buy Phil Steele's magazine. But he would have it all, man. He would do his own preseason All-American team. He would do his own top 25. And I just kept thinking, like, how is Phil doing this? You've got 40 different people on every single school. Every single roster has 40 newcomers and 40 people that are not there from last year that were not graduates. So it was bonkers to begin with, to think of how Phil is getting all these recruits. Just to even forget the freshmen, like just to document who is going to be playing as a senior, junior, and sophomore and know the depth chart. Phil Steele would go around to every school, talk to every coach, try to get a depth chart at this moment, because that mag came out August 1st, and we'd have a month to drool over the Phil Steele magazine before the season would even start. And yeah, like I love looking at a Phil Steele from like 2007. Like, what did Phil Steele have in his All-American team? Like, wow, look, this player wasn't even considered. Now he's an NFL superstar. Like, I love that kind of stuff. So Phil Steele mags used to just live in our bathroom. It was just like like chronological order. Like, what year do you want to check out in college football? Now I have no idea how you do it. So then that brings me to the AP Top 25. How in the hell do they know that Penn State's better than Ohio State?
Pull a name out of a hat.
You got a couple. You got like 20 of them that you're pretty much certain, and you just like, okay, this one. Flip a couple coins, see which way they land, and you think like, well, who cares? Why does that matter? Because when we talk about it at the end of the year, and you start stacking up, we have this many top 25 wins, or we have this many top 25 losses. How in the hell did you know that team was a top 25 team? There's so many teams that are going to be on this list that are going to get 4 losses that are not going to be on this list when the season ends. So why?
Or they're going to be a team that's a ranked team right now, and then they're going to lose their quarterback, and they're not going to be that team. Maybe they're still going to have the record that team has, but they ain't that team.
So Texas is your number 1 team based on Arch Manning.
Yeah, pretty much.
Everyone is giving Arch Manning so much stock because of his last name,
right?
Dude. Like, I think he's talented. I've watched him play his high school ball in New Orleans. I've seen the 2 games that he started for Texas when Quinn Ewers led him,
right?
Or when Coach Sark led him. So now he's going to be your number 1 over starter. I'm imagining Texas is spending $50 million in NIL. I'm imagining all of their people that are on that roster were once 4-star, 5-star, or maybe even the 6-star that they're now putting on these high school football players. But I have no idea. Texas plays Ohio State in the first week.
Here we go.
That's 1 versus 3 right off the bat. So if one of them loses, how far down the pole do they find? Right, somebody has to. So if Ohio State loses to Texas, and let's just say stubs their toe the next week, or let's say Ohio State goes out there, loses to Texas, Texas beats them up so bad, they lose their starting running back, starting quarterback, and then they lose the next week. They're 0-2. Is that team going to fall out of the top 25? I bet not. I bet they fall to like 20, maybe even 15.
Think that far?
Yeah, maybe not even that far. Maybe even like 10th.
Yeah,
and then
that's what I think.
People's arguing, well, it's the first couple of weeks, they haven't been able to. Well, then why in the hell are we ranking them to begin with? I hate the top 25 before October 1st.
I've always just ignored it.
Yes.
I do.
But these teams and their destiny in bowl games, and
I know they have to. Yes,
now
they gotta pay
have the
attention.
Playoffs. So now, like, my biggest argument was basketball back in the day, because basketball, you're ranking these teams, or not. I shouldn't say ranking. You're positioning these teams in the bracket or giving them bids based upon their top 25 success. Did they have this many top 25 wins or this many top 25 losses? Why does that matter in November for these basketball teams? Like, you are playing a bunch of chumps with just a number that's been assigned to you. You don't earn that number at all. You'd earn that number after a few weeks, maybe a couple of months. Now I can see us actually evaluating who you beat, how many you've beaten them by, who they have lost to or beaten, and now I can come up with a formula for a top 25. When nobody's played each other, nobody knows what roster is, how in the hell are you coming up with
so much
this?
movement. I mean, none of these O-lines and D-lines are what they were.
Right.
So how do you guess what they're going to be?
A lot of Big Ten.
And it's like, so you could be the same running back. You could be the same running back that put on a couple of pounds of muscle and not be as good because you don't have in front of you what you had last year.
Well, that used to be just the argument, period. It's like, You automatically gave guys extra touchdowns and extra yards based upon the year before.
Yeah, well,
without looking at
receivers.
He's a junior now.
He was
exactly. He's older. He should be stronger. And yeah, for the most part, but you don't know. You have no idea. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how Coach Mora or any of our coaches in our little Rob Dibble Show circle do it, but most coaches in all sports that I know do not fill out their coach's poll.
Right.
They give it to an assistant, and they say, go at it, bro. Like, do you care which ones I do? I don't care one iota.
I heard that more than 20 years ago.
Now, the thing that used to be told to me from people when I would be talking about rankings, I would be talking about, just kind of hyping things up on the broadcast side, or even in the playing days when oh man, we're playing the 7th best team in the nation. Coaches used to say to me, your ranking puts no points on the scoreboard. And that is 1,000% true. But your ranking gets you the invite to certain parties. And if you win those games, you will get a better golden ticket than what you did if you beat unranked teams. And that's my biggest thing here is if we're going to have a playoff based upon success of your season, we shouldn't be ranking these teams until October, until the first 4 weeks are done. And that way you have an actual understanding on what the hell you're talking about when you put a top 25 together, even the coaches poll on top of the AP poll.
I would argue that it's probably just the TV networks that are pushing for this poll.
Wasn't it USA Today that started this, Jazz? Were they or was it AP? It was the AP, right? They were the first ones to start this because back in the day, let me take you back to some college football history. Let's go all the way back to the beginnings in the 1800s where there was only Princeton and Rutgers. That was the only two schools that played. Then Yale came around, a bunch of Ivy Leagues came around. Okay, now we're in the 1900s. Georgia Tech wants to get in the game. All these Southern schools want to get in the game. Ole Miss is in the party. Okay, now let's go even further of the other side of the Mississippi. This is before internet, Curt. This is before cell phones, Curt. This is before, like, a lot of people had actual telephones, Curt. What did we have? The newspaper.
Yeah.
And we have this guy that works for the San Francisco newspaper and this guy that works for the Minnesota newspaper. And they have, like, a connection. They have a collective, if you will. And they have seen games in this part of the country. And this guy's seen games in that part of the country. They would put their own opinions on and give a top 25. So when Georgia played a Yale or when Notre Dame played a Southern California, they would have some sense of actually how good they were based upon all these newspaper nerds coming together. That was why we developed a top 25 poll. And then eventually we got these end of the season games called bowl games. And don't you want the best teams playing the other best teams? And that's why the top 25 mattered. That's what happened for all of these schools to want to get those bowl games and have an argument whether or not they were deserving of it versus this school or that school. Now, where we are here in 2025, there's so many more teams.
Yeah.
There's, like you said, there's so much movement. Every single roster is completely different, and there's so much more, I would say, confusion on who's a good team and who's a bad team before the season starts.
So the quick looking around the web was that AP poll was first.
Yeah.
And it was 1936.
Okay.
And then the USA Today poll, according to this, is that it didn't start until 1983.
Really? Interesting.
So there was only one poll for a long time.
Now, also, throw in the mix of how college football has decided a champion over the last 100 years. We haven't had this playoff for very long.
We haven't had that split where we had the split national champion in quite some time.
That's what turned the tables. That's what started the BCS, the split national championship. How dare you? We're
the champs. Wait, we're the champs.
No.
I'm the champ.
How do we settle this? Computer? Go to the computers. And like
fired up R2D2, and this is what we got.
And still, even with the computers, you know, it was an element of the computers. And this is what got me on this kick to begin with. Now you're really taking me back. Is when the BCS had top 25 wins or losses or record versus the top 25 as a section of what they're basing their equation off of.
Yes.
Is top 25 wins. Okay, I beat Illinois in September, who was 21.
Yeah.
So that's a top 25 win. I know they're 0-12 now, but when we started, they were 20.
They were good.
Right. So why would that even get in the mix of a computer? A human would know, well, that team was crap, and whoever put them in top 25 should be fired. The computer had no idea.
No, just knows it was top 25. That's all that matters. There's no flavor to it, to a computer.
All right, let me get on this soapbox now that I'm off that one. That was my top 25 soapbox. This is the rules changes stuff. Now, we are talking to Giardino about the injury faking in college football. That's going to be a rule, but there are a couple of others that I like and ones that I'm confused on. The one that I like, defense will not, or excuse me, hold on. Yes, defensive player within 1 yard of the line of scrimmage, stationary or not, may not make quick and abrupt or exaggerated actions to simulate the action at the snap in an obvious attempt to make the offense commit a penalty, to jump off sides. Yeah. So like, that's it. And I'm a linebacker. You can't do that. That's manipulating thing. That's always been a rule. Right. That's always been a rule. However, the offense will be held to the same standard of any pre-snap movement that simulates action at the snap is a foul of the offense or a false start. That's a little trickier, man. That's a little trickier because there's quick counts. There's a lot of things that happen. Like when you go to the line and just dummy hard counts. Like, is that a part of this? Can I still go up the line and like real quick, touch that, and then not snap it? Like that's kind of tricky,
to be able to
right?
do that.
You have to be able to do that. If I'm trying to figure out what they're trying to say here and what happened to make this rule.
Otherwise,
thing for
they're
the
just
offense.
trying to eliminate a lot of quarterbacks because people are going to get hurt.
I wonder how that's good. Now, here's the one that I'm really confused on. On kick returns, if any player on the receiving team holds his arms out to make a T signal during the kick, so the kick is up in the air. You can't do this until from the guy that's kicking the ball. Once the ball's in the air, the kicker, pow, ball's in the air. If anyone on the receiving team makes a T sign, just basically holds his arms out straight, left and right, kind of like T.O. used to do before the O, the T, kind of like YMCA, but with a T in it.
I got you.
That kickoff is going to be dead. That's like a fair catch. The team gives up the right to make a return, and the play will be whistled dead. First of all, why are we doing that? Second of all, are the refs supposed to look at every single player all the time during this kick?
A lot of people.
Aren't they checking whether there's kickoff team is onside or offsides? Aren't they checking?
Well, they got a lot of those people in stripes down there, Ben.
Got a lot, and an eye in the sky. I know we got a lot of stuff going on, but I don't think they have enough.
Yeah, but Ben, they can go back and look at it.
Oh gosh!
So we're going to look at
agree.
We're going to be looking at 11.
This is my thought that could happen is like kickoff happens. Guy thought his buddy put the tee out, but he didn't. He was just like waving his hands, and that guy catches the ball and gets blasted, just blasted because he thought, I thought we were stopping here. And then all of a sudden he gets smoked. That guy fumbles touchdown, and then we got to go back to the film and look at it.
What if you're pushing some guy and then you get knocked around and all of a sudden both arms are out? I'm like,
I thought of this as well. What if you give him a couple tickles? Give him a little tickle.
All of a sudden my arms are out, and I didn't mean it.
There's lots of things that could happen in this college football
Hey, ref,
season.
did you see that? It wasn't this. I was doing something else.
I always like these new rules because, it's always the first few weeks, again, when we shouldn't have the top 25 going on. If your first few weeks of oh, yeah, that's the rule this year. All right. Had no idea. Players, coaches, I know our broadcast crew, there'll be so many things that we have to catch up on in the first couple of weeks. What did I tease? Oh, yeah, the book club. Ryan Day, Ohio State head coach, national champs, my least favorite team of all time, doing something that I kind of like. So usually when you go to summer after, your season, you get a workout packet, or after your spring football, you're a freshman coming in, you get a workout packet. You got this to-do list, and it's kind of like an itinerary for your summer. First week is this sort of reps, this sort of running. This is what you're supposed to do, because you can't have coaches on these guys all the time. They're actually kids. As far as now, they're not employees.
Right.
So you can't tell them what to do when they're not at school, but you can give them little workout packets.
But they got to keep moving.
Right. And we'll know whether or not you did this workout packet or not when we come to conditioning in the early summer or late summer. Ryan Day switched it up a little bit. On top of his workout packet, he forced his boys to read a book.
Really?
I love it, man. I love it. You have to read a book before you get here. And it was a specific book, Chop Wood, Carry Water. It's the story of a kid that wants to be a samurai one of these days. And it's like the journey of becoming a samurai. That was his assignment for the summer for his Ohio State kids.
I like it.
I love it. I think it's great. I think it's wonderful.
It doesn't mean that Ohio State doesn't suck.
So true. And I bet there's one guy that reads the book and tells everybody else what happened.
And Ohio State University.
I got another football book for you that's coming out. It's a cookbook, Yeast Mode. Marshawn Lynch has a baking book with baking recipes.
I'll bet he does.
Called Yeast Mode. Are you now? I could be wrong, but Marshawn could be one of the best chefs that we know of that we don't know of.
Well, for a guy that size, in the playing size, he had to have a significant caloric intake.
Wait. Wasn't he the guy that only ate Skittles? Didn't he only eat Skittles? I'm pretty sure he only ate Skittles.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, they threw Skittles down. We should Google this.
Okay.
Marshawn Lynch's love for Skittles. Now, I don't remember Marshawn Lynch's love for baked goods, but I do remember people would rain Skittles upon him as he would score touchdowns. I might be thinking of Lamar Odom's candy obsession as well, but I know that Marshawn Lynch had some kind of Skittles love. No, you can't find any Skittles love?
Well-known affinity for Skittles, often referred to as power pellets.
See? There you go. I don't know how this Yeast Mode book's going to go, if he's really any part of it. Oh, this was...
Lynch's mother used to... It was a treat. Nor like, play well, you'll get Skittles.
Oh, really? See? There you go. I love it. All right, I'm into this book now. I think he knows his sweets.
Okay.
I have
I didn't know that was coming.
I have a football story for you today that I think is going to really upset you. One of the greatest quarterbacks, I don't know, paths to the NFL may have come to an end the other day. Have you ever known of the quarterback Tim Boyle? He may have been a second stringer for your Jets, or maybe your Denver Broncos, or maybe your Detroit Lions, or I think he may have been a Colt.
Why did I think Raiders?
No Raiders. He was a Dolphin, a Texan, a Jet, a Bear, a Lion, a Packer. You may remember him. Yeah. You may remember him from Middletown, who went to Xavier High School. You may remember him as a UConn quarterback. Let me give you the path of Tim Boyle. Tim Boyle was cut by the Titans the other day. Okay?
Yeah.
2013 is when Tim Boyle came to UConn. He had a bunch of different offers, but he decided to stay in his home state. Tim Boyle started 4 games in 2013. His record, 0-4. Next year, 2014, he stays with UConn. He started 3 games for UConn that year. 0-3. He stuck around, man. He played 11, but only started 1 in 2015. His record, 0-1. Oh. So his career at UConn was 0-8. Not the best, right? He then transfers in 2016 to Eastern Kentucky, which back then they had the rule that if you transfer, you have to sit out a year. So he's sitting out 2016. Plays his senior year, starts every game, all 11 for Eastern Kentucky. His record, 4-7. Now you would think
4 wins.
That's true. He had 4 big wins.
Hey, those are
big wins.
4 more than I got.
Now you would think that no one is looking at a Tim Boyle to go to the NFL. Oh, contraire, mon frere. The Green Bay Packers, for some reason, end up picking up Tim Boyle as an undrafted free agent in 2018. And he made the 53-man roster behind Deshaun Kaiser, former Brown, and Aaron Rodgers at the time was the Green Bay Packer quarterback. So a third stringer, Curt. And then he ends up with the Detroit Lions after that, the Chicago Bears, the New York Jets, the Houston Texans, the Miami Dolphins, the New York Giants, and the Tennessee Titans. His NFL record is 0-5. He has completed only 141 passes playing in 23 games. How did Tim Boyle survive this entire time? Tim Boyle, you can't even argue that he was an average college quarterback. You can't even argue that he is one that people remember as a UConn quarterback. He lost every game he started.
Yeah.
This dude has had one of the most impressive NFL careers with being one of the worst in the NFL's history. There's no reason the Packers should have put him on the team. There is no reason everyone else should have kept on putting him on teams.
So he's got a lot of helmets, though, to knock around, to decorate the living room and stuff like that.
Don't cry for Tim Boyle. He made 1.7 with the Packers, then goes to the Lions and makes 2.5 out of 1 year, signing bonus of $1 million. Then the Lions again sign him up for next year. Then goes to the Bears for $1.035 million. Then goes to the Jets at $1.1 million. Then goes to the Texans for another $1.5 million. Then goes to the Giants for $1.1 million. This dude in a 6-year career has totaled millions of dollars without ever being good.
Wow.
Hall of Fame, dude.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame.
There should be some kind of, I don't know, what would you call it? The Hall of Lame?
I feel like this guy deserves to tip the cap to everybody. I mean, anyone who's ever played in the NFL and taken a hit is probably like, damn, how did you stick around, man?
That's a participation trophy, or at least a participation check.
Best position in all of professional sports, backup quarterback. See my man Tim Boyle, who never won a game. Never won a game. Congratulations, though. Great career. We